find ourselves in a situation that unfortunately is a familiar situation, and that, you know, you play a really good team, you play a pretty good game, at least anyway, and then, you know, there's one or two things end up being your Achilles heel, and you end up not winning the game. So it's difficult. It's difficult to know what to say to the guys, to connect to them, because, you know, it's frustrating for me, but more than frustration, I feel a sense of I don't know, empathy for them and what they're going through. And you know, for young people, it's not that easy. Sometimes to bounce back and be as chipper as you need to in order to go out and win another game. They've done a great job of that, but just unfortunate. You know, they made a couple of plays. We had a couple of plays that we did not make offensively, and then we had a couple of errors, offensive rebound late. I think at the free throw line, that one hurt us, and, you know, missed a bunch of free throws. So didn't turn the ball over this time. Other times that's been what's gotten us. So still just trying to get better and manage those last 3 or 4 minutes in a way that you can be in control of the game coming down the stretch.
Lamont, you mentioned it, that it's tough to know what to say when these kind of things keep happening. So what did you say to the guys this time? Is it you have to find something different, or is it just guys hang in there and it will change?
Yeah. It's uncharted territory for me also, particularly to have a team. I say this to our guys. I think they know this. I say this to our guys that, you know, this stinks for me between now and I'll watch the game tonight. I'll watch it again in the morning, make the edits, and then at some point move forward to start preparing for the next game. And once I do that, I start watching the other team. I look at us. I look at what we do. I look at what they do well. And I come into practice ripping and roaring and very confident in our ability to win the game based on what my eyes see, nothing else. And, you know, that continues to be what I do. Not so that I can get through this, because that's genuine belief in what our ability to win a game looks like each time. But yeah, so, you know, I keep making the golf analogy, and 18 holes in a golf round and 18 games in the conference, and you know, we had a good drive. We put the ball in the fairway. We were green in regulation after our second shot. I had a long putt for birdie. Lagged it to 4 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet maybe, and weren't able to come through with a par. So it's, you know, I actually use that analogy with them. I'm sure some guys probably don't understand most of that, but I've used enough of them that probably do. But anyway, I feel for them. I let them know that, you know, I'm in this with them, but I have less impact on how it goes than what they do.
John, on the back right. What's your sense on their mindset when it gets inside a minute and it's a one-possession game, and they've been through, as you said, some of these, and it's kind of familiar the way things have kind of played out. Do you sense anything different than, you know, the first 38, 39 minutes of the game? Are they playing a little tight at the end because of, you know, what's going on this year?
Well, no, there's nothing that I sense that way. I did when we came out of the timeout at like 3:37. I don't know that was the exact time, but it might have been the exact time on the clock. I did specifically address decisions that we needed to make from here on out. That this is the whole other rest of the game, 36 minutes and 23 seconds or whatever it ended up being, it was irrelevant. It's about the decisions from here to the end of the game. So, but other than that, I don't sense anything from the guys. You're trying to eliminate any factors where a snafu could happen. Plays that involve a dribble handoff. They've been real aggressive on the dribble handoffs. I don't want to do that. They do something weird and the dribble handoff doesn't work. Now where are you at? Plays that involve, so all these things you're doing to eliminate or mitigate chances of something happening that makes the play do something different than what we had talked about in the timeout, particularly out of a timeout. That's really all it comes down to. So then there's only one thing, performance. That's it. You just have to perform. Guys got in the spots we had talked about. Everyone's where they need to be. You just have to perform. And I thought we did that. Excuse me. Got a little cough, but I thought we did that. And then a couple of times we didn't make plays. We got the ball to Colin in pretty good situations, with a couple of outlets. It's really hardly ever just plan A, no plan B, in those circumstances. But we just weren't able to perform the way we needed to. And they did. Refs are letting a lot of things go at that time, which is they probably should be unless there's any blatant fouls. And, they get body-to-body contact and throw it and bank it in. We get 2 times down there, we don't. We get an open 3 with a minute and something left, we don't make it. This is not critical of that. Those are just things that happened that at that time of the game certainly can affect not necessarily the outcome, but the plays leading up to the outcome. And you're in you have a completely different set of circumstances maybe.
Just a question on the last possession. Excuse me. You're down 3, 22 seconds to go. You get it down to CMB. Did you want him to go for a layup and potential 3-point play there? Is that what you were thinking, or
Yeah.
did they have other alternatives?
So there were options in that play. It ended up being a screening situation for Colin. And if they don't handle that properly, he has options. First and foremost is to just go straight down to the rim and make it happen. But during that screening action, we moved Jamari over there intentionally so that if they both went to Colin, then plan B is then to reverse pivot and throw back to Jamari for a shot. Either way, we wanted a quick score. Either way, and if it was a 2, it was a 2. Certainly, if you attack aggressively, maybe you get an and 1. And if they don't handle it properly, you may just get a 3 out of it naturally. Whether it's throwing back to Jamari or if the whole weak side collapses, then maybe to the opposite side, which ultimately is where he kind of tried to bat the ball over to that, but he just lost the ball at some point during his attack. And that was, kind of that for that play.
Ole Miss shot around 65% in the first half. In the second half, they shot closer to 30%. I'm curious on what you saw from your guys after the break to kind of, on the defensive end, to allow for you guys to be able to get back in the game.
The only things we talked about were trying to stay in front of the ball better. I thought especially early, we did a better job of that. They were really attacking in the first half. And so that was one thing that we tried to do. Some of it is just also a case of water finding its level to some degree. A handful of times they shot a pull-up jumper, two-point jumper in the second half and missed it, and we rebounded it. In the first half, some of those went in. They made some plays in the first half. I mean, Malik Dia hasn't been shooting the ball great. He splashed 2 in, one right in front of our bench and another one at the top of the key. We went zone on the one possession, and a guy that shoots, it might be sub 20% from 3, bangs a 3. Mo gets a wide open 3 in front of our bench. It doesn't go in. I don't want to take too much credit nor give too much blame in some of those situations. It's like guys play, and that's what you play for, is to be out there in a situation and you're out the park practicing and you're counting down 3, 2, 1 at the buzzer, and you shoot it and make it. All right? And if you don't make it, you stay there till you do make it. I hope. But that's what you're here for. That's what you're here for. And so we have to get better in those circumstances too. We didn't make some of those plays, and they did make some of those plays.
Yeah, Lamont, I was going to ask about Dia. Those last 6 minutes, he was certainly a handful after you guys did a pretty good job on him most of the game. Did you see anything change defensively, or was it just a talented player making plays at the right time?
I mean, I think a lot of it was that, but, one time in particular, we gave him an and one. I just don't think we played good defense. Sure, he made an aggressive drive, but they were making aggressive drives. I don't think we played great defense on that play. And then it's funny. You're constantly teaching, and this game is in the margins, particularly for us. It's in the margins, and so like you look at. I'm not a big and one guy. Like I'm either going to foul you or you're going to score it. One of the two is like I don't really love guys getting themselves in a position where you foul it and they score it. It just doesn't seem to make much sense to me. But if you look at that particular play, if you could get that 1 point back just by not fouling, right? I don't want to Ole and give him the thing, or maybe you foul so early and he only makes 1 out of 2, and then it's a 2-point swing on the deal. So there's so many things when we're talking about how deep we're diving into what learning how to win looks like and those kind of things. But he was aggressive. He made some plays. He missed some shots also. A couple tough turnaround jumpers that he missed that we needed at that time. So, but yeah, he made some plays when it counted.
Coach, I think about the first 7:15 of the second half, you all attempted about 12 free throws and 8 field goal attempts, and that kind of got you all back into the game. Was it kind of an emphasis, I guess, at halftime offensively to get to the line more, especially when you get down 10 plus, or does that offensive aggressiveness kind of just happen organically when they're on the floor?
Well, I mean, we thought going into it, I mean, at one point we were hovering around 4th in the country in free throw rate. The number of free throw attempts we have per game relative to field goal attempts per game. I think most recently we're at 17th. So it's gotten worse while we're in the league, which is a little crazy because every single team, sans Mississippi State, is giving up more free throws in the conference play than in the non-conference, some significantly more. But I only say that to say that we get to the free throw line. Typically, it's just a thing. We throw the ball inside a lot. Nick and Colin get touches. They make aggressive moves. That's a big part of it. So we thought that was going to be a thing coming into the game, and they have a different philosophy. The ball gets inside. They try, and they did a better job, I think, in the first half of maybe not allowing it to get in there as much. But when it gets in there, they raid the post, and they're very aggressive with it. And if you're weak with the ball, it ends up being a strip. And it did sometimes end up a strip for us. If you're strong with the ball, it oftentimes ends up being a foul. And I thought we were stronger in the second half with it, and those did end up being fouls, a lot of them. And so we got to the free throw line. We didn't make You know, in a game like this, again, the games are going to be in the margin for us, for sure. And you know, one thing you have some control over is standing 15 feet away from the basket with no one actively defending you in an attempt to put more points on the board.
I know a lot happened afterwards, and it maybe wasn't the reason you guys lost. But did you get an explanation from the officials on that double technical in the first half where Jamari was kind of in a headlock, it appeared? Or did they explain what the call was there to you?
Yeah, I haven't seen it, so hopefully it doesn't look like something that's going to frustrate me. But I was told that it was a common foul. And then there was a technical foul on one of their players, and then we retaliated in a way that gave us a technical foul also. So those two technical fouls offset. So I'll have to see it. But again, these guys are competitors. I mean, there's a couple of things. One, I think in a retaliatory situation, like, I think there should be a little leeway as to what to do. Did I punch you in the eyeball? Is that my retaliation? Well, you don't get any slack cut. Did I say something to you after you put me in a headlock? I think we probably have to let that one go in those situations. But also, it's a good lesson for cooler heads prevail. Like, at the end of the day, your competitors, all this, at the end of the day, only one team gets to ultimately talk trash. At the end of that game, only one. So it doesn't matter what's happening in the middle. Oh, I made a three. I get to say something about your mom or your girlfriend. Like, what matters? Nothing matters except for who ultimately, he who laughs last, they say laughs hardest. So it's just not worth getting. Now, it makes you feel good in that moment. You might you say something and you're like, yeah, that cut to the bone. I know that. That was a good one. But, like, you get a technical foul for it, and rather than shoot free throws, we have an offsetting technical foul situation. That's not critical of him. That's my own belief, and that's why you don't see me getting a lot of tees during the game. I'm too stingy when it comes to points. Like, it don't mean I'm not angry at some of the calls. Like, we're in a game. Like, I can't afford to give those 2 points up for something that I did that made me feel better. That's crazy. That's literal. That's crazy to me. So, you know, you don't see it too much, but yeah, if we could have handled that situation better, we might have been shooting free throws, and then that also helps to, you know, affect momentum and all that kind of stuff. So.
Last question, back middle. Coach, Colin seemed to look to be more aggressive, like midway in the first half, and it helped you guys, you know, make the halftime lead manageable while Ole Miss was shooting 65% in the first half. What do you think of his aggressiveness in the game in general?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's out there. The last couple of times I've been talking about how much more I want him to be stepping on the gas pedal and be aggressive. So that's just who we are as a team. He needs to do it. He's an unselfish player. He's a smart player. So, you know, in a crowd, he's going to try to find the guy who's open. But you know, I don't even know how many total field goal attempts he had. I can't see this from here. Okay, so, yeah. And they were doing some stuff when he did get the ball around the basket again. It was, you know, they were double teaming from the low side and trying to make it difficult for him to get an actual shot up. But I don't have some sort of pitch count on what he's doing. But you know, if he shoots 20 shots, I'm not mad that if he shoots 20 shots. We need him to be aggressive. We need him to be aggressive. I mean, that's just what this team is. It's a good situation to be in. But I think everyone on our team knows he's such an unselfish guy and a team guy. He doesn't care that, you know, no one's ever going to judge him for taking too many shots. So.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
All right.